Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast at our new live time, which is 1 p.m. Central. I think we kind of undersold that at this point. We want to be able to react to what's going on as the Bears have moved up their press conferences now, so we get to talk about what Shane Waldron had to say today. We're going to get to talk about it with a phenomenal former Bear in just a moment. Our guy Al Harris is here. But I do want to remind you, first of all, we are coming at you live on this sunny side summer Thursday. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. So go big or go home. Enter that promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 and over or Illinois medical card holders. And a reminder that if you're enjoying your Sunnyside on Sunday, or not, come to our watch party live show this Sunday. Myself and Hoge and Woot and Alex Brown and Lance Briggs and Gregory P. Allen Braggs. We're all going to be there at Joe's Bar on Weed Street. $10 to get in, $65 for the all-you-can-drink package. Miller Lite, White Claw, Mimosas, Bloody Marys, craft, import, cider, seltzers, premiums. Be there. Let's have some fun on Sunday. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully the Bears can get to 2-1. With all that in mind, let's bring in our guy, the former defensive lineman, straight out from Maine to Arizona State, a New Year's Eve baby, the 9th overall draft pick in the 1979 draft. He didn't want to be a Bear, but he's now happy that he was. Good old number 90, Al Harris is with us. Al, good to see you.
Gentlemen, good to see you, Mark and Greg. Thank you for having me on.
Well, and we have you on for a zillion reasons because your football thoughts are top of the mountain and they're just fantastic. And somebody's got to figure out how to get this run game going here, Al, and I know you've got a lot of thoughts on it. So, look, the Colts can't stop the run. The Bears haven't been able to establish the run. If Shane Waldron, after his press conference today, was watching the CHGO Bears podcast, which I believe he loves deeply, what would be your number one recommendation? Hey, Shane, I know you got to do this. I know it will help the Bears win. I did play the game. This is what I think you should do.
Well, first of all, I do have a lot of respect for those coaches. I know they put in a lot of hours and time and everything, and they're trying to do their best to, bring out a good plan for offense. I think one of the things is this is a copycat league, and if you look at the teams that have been successful this year, even in the passing game, they run the ball a lot. And there's a purpose to running the football because I'm just saying this as a defender. If I'm going against a team like how the Bears were in gun most of the day, I'd love that as a defensive end because I have no other key other than rush the passer. So it's really a disadvantage for the offensive lineman to consistently be in the gun formation with no threat of the run because it's just a matter of time. I mean, any defensive end worth his salt is going to beat the best offensive lineman eventually. You get that many shots at him, you're going to be, I know some people got on Darnell, right, because he got schooled on that one play. But heck, he's going against one of the best rushers in the league. That's going to happen. And so what happens is, as a defensive player, one thing I hated as a defensive end is if the offensive line got off the ball and were coming at me. And because I was a smaller, quicker, agile guy, and I was going against those big guys, so I would have to kind of jam up against them. Well, what happens is when you're leaning on the defensive ends and the linebackers and you're pressing them and you're coming off the ball and you're striking instead of catching, what happens to the defender is his legs get tired. So when his legs get tired, what happens to the pass rush? The pass rush dies down. So one of the things is what I've seen, he's had a lot of open formations and things like that. That line is not good enough to do that on a consistent basis. And they just gotta be honest with that. So they need to, my opinion is they need to bring it in tight, bring the line, the tight ends run a lot of 12 and 13 personnel, 21 personnel, 22 personnel. I'm not saying that you don't get in the gun from time to time, but don't live on it because it makes it too easy for the defense. It makes it too hard for the offensive lineman. And so I'm sure there's been other people who have commented about the same thing. And I'm just hoping I'm hoping the defensive coaches talk to the offensive coaches and say, hey, this is too easy to read. You got to bring some tight ends, and I mean bring them up tight, like, right next to the tackle, right next to each other, and put body on body and come off the ball. When I was watching them against Houston, they were catching. They were kind of waiting. Even in the run game, they were catching, and those guys were just exploding into their chest. You got to come off the ball. And, I'm used to playing with, against Jimbo Covert, Mark Bortz, Thayer, and all those guys. Those guys came off the rock, and they don't weigh nearly as much as these guys. And they came off and they were striking people. And you gotta establish a line of scrimmage. You gotta strike and get some movement so the back has some options when he's sitting in there.
Yeah, it definitely feels like this is just this next game and these next 3 games with all 3 defenses that they're playing. Colts, Rams, and Panthers are defenses, worst run defenses in the league. So it feels like it's just what the doctor ordered. But when you look at the best quarterbacks in the league, they're playing out of gun more times than not. So my question to you is the balance of trying to develop Caleb Williams into one of these new era quarterbacks versus doing what's best for the team right now and what the game plan should call for against a defense that, obviously is giving up a lot in the run. How do you balance that as a coach to do what's best for the team versus trying to develop a quarterback into what we're seeing around the league?
Well, the first thing I think about developing a quarterback is keeping his confidence. Because, if you looked at that game, that was instant replay of Cleveland game a couple of years ago against Justin. It was. They were getting annihilated. And they had to spread out just like that, 5 guys blocking them. They were getting killed. I mean, the center was getting thrown back in a quarterback's lap on a regular basis. It's great to have that if you have guys that can do that. But if you have guys that don't do that, and you're still trying to develop a guy, how's that going to help him be a better quarterback if he's getting hit all the time? And you saw the difference in Caleb in the second half, right? Caleb was not the same person in the first half. First half, he was on cue, pop, pop, pop. And they had some quick throws, even when they were coming after him. I don't know what happened to the routes in the second half, and I heard that they had a lot of confusion on that. Maybe that was a big part of it. But if you want to develop the quarterback, the first thing you got to do is keep him from getting killed.
Yep.
That'll kill. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if it's Manning. I've seen Tom Brady when people pressured him up the middle. He was an ordinary quarterback, and he was the greatest of all time. So you got to get protection first up the middle, because if you can't step up the throw, what do you got? Because most of the offensive tackles, they're schooled to, if a defensive end like me, if I'm rushing up, they'll try to let me go outside and then push me out of the way, and then the quarterback steps up and makes the throw. But if your inside 3 aren't holding a point, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yep. How are you going to develop a quarterback when he's getting killed? So to me, I would rather run the football more, give him some nice play action that makes it pretty easy because guys are coming up to play. Because I played linebacker too, and I know if a team's running, I'm looking to run, and my first step's forward, and if they're play action, I got to honor the play action because they've been running on me. Now all of a sudden a receiver or running back's getting behind me. Now I got to try to find them. So I think if you can get some play action passes in there, establish the run. And what I mean by establish the run is be committed to it. They're going to stop it at times, but don't give up just because, you got stopped a couple times.
So let's take a little global look at this, Al, because if you look at passing touchdowns through 2 weeks, this is kind of making its way around, and people are trying to figure out why. From 2020 to 24, first 2 weeks, passing touchdowns, 110 in 20, 110 in 21, 105 in 22, 86 last year, and now 66 2024. So this is this is a league-wide movement going on right now.
It's the fewest since 2006.
And the fewest since 2006. Thank you, Gregory. Love bad research right there, brother.
Look at us.
We're brilliant, and that's why people love the show. And Al, you're helping us get to the next level. Why do you think that is, and how do you capitalize on what's going on right now?
Well, I think one of the things that in the modern day coaching realm that they're not doing that they used to do is they're not playing quarterbacks in the preseason. I think that's a big mistake. If you watch Aaron Rodgers the last 3 years, would you say Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever? Do you know the last 3 years,
but yes,
he didn't hardly play in the preseason? And what happened his first game? He stunk up the joint. But after the first game, he was Aaron Rodgers again. And so you have to play these guys in the preseason. I know they're like, well, we don't want them to get hurt and this and that, but you need a rhythm and the timing. And I think what's happening is I think that's why you're seeing such a slow start, because all these guys are like, yeah, don't play any of your starters. And then all of a sudden you get in the game, it's a total different speed. What I've learned when I played was there's a preseason speed, a regular season speed, and a postseason speed. And that's true. There's 3 different speeds on that field. And so you have to get used to that. And I'm just talking about, you don't have to play a guy. I mean, when we played, I think we had 4 preseason games. The first game we played, maybe 2 or 3 series. We got through the first quarter. Second game, we might play almost up to halftime. Third game, we would play into the third quarter first series. I'm talking about both sides of football. That's in the third game, okay? Now, these guys don't play at all.
Right.
So how are you going to expect them to come out in a regular season and have their timing down?
Well, what Carolina did with Bryce Young, and Mel Kiper made the point of shout him out because the dude struggled his whole first year, didn't play in any of the preseason this year, with the exception of 1 series. New head coach, new system, the whole thing. Throw him out there 2 weeks, you're done. See you later. I mean, that is a travesty right there.
Well, you bring up. Go ahead, Al.
Go ahead. No, it's okay.
No, he brought up he brought up Mel Kiper, and there's a video making the rounds from this morning on Get Up where he says that the NFL should ban 2 high safeties, and that the league can't stop the 2 high safety anymore. And the passing touchdowns few since 2006, average target depth 7.1 yards, lowest on record. If only 545 blitzes, fewest on record, and then the 46% 2 high safety percentage is the highest on record in NFL history, and no one can stop it. And now all these teams are just check down Charlies, and Mel's solution is to ban it. What is your solution to the beating the 2 high safety that's dominating the league?
It's called running the football. First of all, when you have guys back, you don't have guys up there, it's an advantage for the offensive line, especially if you have 2 tight ends in there, because you can get a push off. The back has a lot more room to cut. That's the answer. What's happened was the teams got a wave, because of Patrick Mahomes, everybody wanted to throw the ball, right? Oh, we want to get this great thrower, rocket thrower. Well, even with Tom Brady, they ran the football a lot. With Joe Montana, you know who they had back then? Roger Craig, Wendell Tyler. Those guys ran the football. They had 1,000-yard rushers on their football. The key to great passing is running the football. The reason is, I don't care what defense you're in. If you're in 2 high or, have extra guys back there, if someone's running the ball down your throat, what are you going to do? You're going to bring that safety in. And when that safety comes in, that's when you have the big play. You have to be committed to running the football. Look at New Orleans. New Orleans is averaging 40 a game, right? What are they doing? They're running the football. They annihilated Dallas, killed them. That's what Green Bay did to Dallas. Remember that?
Yep.
I mean, look at Green Bay, what they did this past week. Everybody thought, oh, they ain't got a chance with the backup quarterback, right? He really struggled with Tennessee. What did they do? They ran for 268 yards? You're trying to win a football game. You're not trying to look pretty.
Yeah, you nailed it. Mina Kimes put out earlier, the 2 offenses with the highest run rate in these looks of the 2 high safety are the Cardinals, and you nailed it, the Saints. And they're the 2 most successful offenses in the league right now.
Al, stick right there. Stick right there. I want to dive into the defense with you too, and just a bunch of other topics here. Hoge's coming up at 1:30. Thank you for being here for the CHGO Bears Podcast. Thank you to our friends at Monster Jam, which is coming back to Chicagoland this coming weekend. It's the only place to see the most popular trucks, the best drivers roaring into Allstate Arena, September 20th, this Friday to the 22nd. Stunts, big air, backflips, crazy skills, the all-out racing, Fierce head-to-head battles for the event championship engineered to perfection. The 12,000-pound Monster Jam trucks pushing all the limits in freestyle skills and racing competitions. Experience the big-time family fun at Monster Jam, the most unexpected, unscripted, and unforgettable motorsports experience for families and fans in the world today. Monster Jam coming to Allstate Arena September 20th to the 22nd. Gregory, do you need me to keep going here? I don't know what's going on over here.
I'm working through computer problems. I'm going to take my computer, Alan. I'm going to smash it on this show. But before I do that, I'm going to take some Sunnyside so I can chill out.
Yeah, that'd be good for you.
Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. What are some of the amazing features that make the brand or product awesome? Well, one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city, Wrigleyville, River North, the suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit, all over the place. If you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands we know you'll love like Good News and Mindy's. If you're a pro, we've got you covered with over 100 strains on the menu and new ones added weekly. So it's easy to order online and also help in store. They've got it all. So here for the summer is Good News Tea Time Disposable Vape, bringing classic lemonade flavors that's perfect for the golf course because we all need a little help staying loose on the green. Am I right, Carm?
You're right.
That's
Rag.
right. And so visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and over or Illinois medical card holders.
All right. Before we get to the defense, Al, as far as just the run game's going, do we have the right running back? Is DeAndre Swift the guy? I mean, he's saying today that, quote, he can be better, which is a great teammate right there. He's not throwing anyone under the bus. But I'm also looking at him, and he's not exactly going to run through a ton of contact here. That's not his game. So I'm wondering, do we have the right back? And if you're going to do a two-headed monster here, who's Al Harris's second back to pair with him?
Mine? Honestly, a lot of people go, what? But, I mean, as much as I like Khalil Herbert, and he's a good runner, I like Velus. And this is why I'm saying I'm looking at this as a person that has to play against him. I'd be more afraid of Velus than any of those backs. Because not only does he run hard, you notice every time he got hit, he was always getting yards, even after he got hit. Yep. And the guy has very good vision. I think he's more of a way more natural runner than he is a receiver. Now, I don't know how he is in pass protection. I don't know how he is in assignments. He might not, who knows on that end. I can't evaluate that. But if you're saying a pure runner who would scare me more than anyone on that team, would be him. But I do think I've seen, oh my gosh, I just had a brain fart on the starting running back's name.
DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift. I have seen him run inside, but he gets tackled pretty easy. He's not a strong guy. He doesn't get those tough yards. So, when they get in that 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, they need someone that can do that. Now, I'm going to throw up another person in the running game they need to use. Caleb is a very good runner. And what I'm saying, not in a regular, I'm not saying run him like 10, 12 times. I'm not talking about that. Just enough to keep him honest. I would use him in the red zone. He's very, very good. He has running back skills. He really does. But I wouldn't do a regular diet of him, but I would, just to keep the defense, what you want to do as a defender, you want to keep my eyes looking at everyone. You don't want me to just look at one person. You want me looking at the running back. You want me looking at the tight end. You want me looking at the quarterback. I got to defend all of them. But I would love to see them, and I know Caleb's trying to do what the coach wants him to do, but he made a lot of really good plays running the ball. And so I'm not trying to talk to him like running like Justin did. But I would just like to see him do, especially in the red zone, just to keep the defense honest, to make the defense maybe have a spy to make it easier for him to throw. But as far as a runner, I would like to see them get a guy in there. I don't know what's happening with Roschon Johnson. He seemed to be the best back for the short yardage stuff, but I don't know what's happening with him. But I think the thing is, regardless of who the running back is, you got to get a push off the line. I mean, they're catching people. Like I was watching them against Houston. They weren't coming off the ball. They were catching guys, catching them in their chest. You got to come off the football and get some movement. They got to give them some plays that the lineman can come off the ball, because that's going to keep the defenders more honest.
Yep. No, you're right, because when you're running RPO, and I don't have to tell you, but when you're running RPO, you're setting up for the run or the pass. So, you know, you get under center and you run downhill. Those are cliche football terms, but at the end of the day, like you said, then the offensive linemen are able to fire off. There's no question of whether or not they're running or passing, and there's that in between as the collision happens with the defensive lineman. You can just go. And a couple times they got under center last week, even with DeAndre Swift, they were able to get positive yardage, 8 yards on a carry, up the middle. So
early in the game, what you're talking about, Greg, is true. They did come off early in the game. And there was one play in particular, like I don't know if it was in the second quarter or end of the first quarter, they came off and fired off the ball, and Sweat hit right in there and got some good yardage. I just think when you are establishing the line of scrimmage, and see, the other thing you have to realize with offensive linemen is when they get movement, it gives them confidence, and they get a little swag, you know what I mean? When they're pushing you. And then the defenders are kind of like, oh, shoot. I mean, I remember even playing with the Bears when we had those really good defenses. There were times that teams ran really well against us. Like the Rams ran well against us at times. Redskins ran well against us at times. And I remember we would be in the huddle, and the coach would, they would stop running that play that was giving us a problem. And we kind of go, man, I'm glad they stopped running that play. That happens sometimes, because sometimes a matchup is there that a certain play works well, and the coaches get too cute and they get away from it instead of going back to it and make them stop it. You see the really good coaches, they might do it in different formations, different personnels, but they run the same play a lot. And people don't realize it because it looks, wow, look at the innovation and stuff. And then it ends up being the same play. So if a team can't stop it, why do you stop and running it?
Right. Well, one thing that can't be stopped on this Bears team is this defense. Over their last 8 games, the Chicago Bears have allowed 20 or fewer points, which is the longest streak in the NFL right now. They're playing some dominant football. And so just to turn it to the other side of the ball, side that you played on, what are you seeing from this defense that's making them so dominant? How surprised are you, or are you surprised at how well the pass rush has looked here these first 2 weeks?
Well, let's take it on the defensive side like it did on the offensive side. It starts at the line of scrimmage. You've noticed that teams have had a very hard time running against the Bears. They have been stopping people up, especially in that middle. I think when you got the 2 behemoths that we got inside now, it's very hard to run on us. And the backers, they have another year, and they got a lot more experience as far as filling the holes, and they got their whole team back. They're playing with a lot of swag, And I think it starts with the line of scrimmage. Their defensive line, the reason why they've been able to have really good pass rush in the second half, the pass rush gets better in the second half. Did you notice that? Yep. Why? Is because they stopped the run. So now, once they stopped the run, I mean, think about that running back. He had, 160-something against the Colts the week before? And the Bears pretty much bottled him up. And so they're showing physicality on the defensive side of the football. And I think that's one of the first things is you got to show your physicality. And this is the thing for the offense to remember for this week. You don't have to be in a hurry to score because your defense is going to keep you in every game. This is not like Caleb doesn't have like USC's defense when he had to score 40 a game and act crazy and try to throw and do incredible things. They're going to be in the game. Think about it. If Kyler Gordon somehow comes up with that tip, the Bears win that game, right? As badly as the offense played, if he somehow comes up with that ball, the Bears would win that game. So that tells me
he should have. He jumped the route. He was right there. He was gone.
Yeah, and so that tells me the Bears have a lot better football team than people think of. Because realize that was Houston at home, their first game, and they pretty much throttled C.J. Stroud and them in the second half. That's a heck of an offense now. I mean, all those receivers, all the weapons they have, and the Bears throttled them with no help from the offense at all. If they had any help, they would have won that game. So what that tells me is this is a very, very good Bears football team. And they just have to help the offensive line, and they have to have a physical mentality on that side of the football. But I love the way the defense is playing. I think picking up Taylor as a pass rusher was a revelation for us, because what I noticed, they were not sending guys out that were probably normally in a pass rush because they were trying to chip Taylor and stuff because he had such a good game the first game against Tennessee. So when you have an extra pass rusher, you got two pass rushers coming from the outside and you're getting that good pressure on the inside, and you have those defensive backs who are playing exceptionally well. The defensive back, I love the way they're playing. They tackle well, and I love their tackling, because that's one of the biggest thing I think is a difference in their defenses is their tackling, because it's the NFL. Somebody's going to catch the ball on you, but how the offenses get more yards is when they get guys that miss tackles. And the Chicago Bears, they haven't been missing too many tackles. They've been nailing guys and making big plays, and they're playing with such a confidence right now. It's just a swag. You could just see it. They believe in it, and Lord's will, hopefully everybody stays healthy. But that's to me, that's a championship type defense right now we got.
100%.
Big handsome man on the screen here that you're looking at, not to my left, but on the screen is number 90, Al Harris, who, look at that mustache back in the day over the right shoulder.
Oh, goodness.
Might have to bring that back, Al. I don't know. That
that thing would be all patchy, gray. It would look all bad. It's funny looking at some of the styles we had back in those days. I was like, oh, my goodness.
It reminds me of those days you guys would go on those basketball tours in the summer and go play at high schools. You have any good stories from any of those days? Because I remember going to quite a few of those.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And we used to do it with the Bulls, too. We would have a mixed team. And so one time we had Craig Hodges on our team. And that was right when Craig Hodges was, he was like the 3-point champion or whatever. We were playing, and usually we would play against the teachers, the firemen, or policemen. Usually it was, and we go in these little tiny small towns. Craig Hodges, we would run about half court, and we would just stop. And he would launch and hit like about 9 or 10 threes, And we're just sitting there watching him, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But it was a lot of fun playing those games, interacting with the community. We would do a lot of autographs at halftime, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got memories of the whole thing. We don't have enough time to go into it, but then we can table that one for another one. Hey, 1 minute to go here, Al. I just would you called up front in the middle behemoths. So I'm just wondering, do you see a different Gervon Dexter Sr. that is built to last in year 2 here?
I'm seeing him play more confidently, and that's a big key to me, is that you could see he's, I think after playing that read and react defense, that takes time to get that out of your system, and I think he's finally seeing, the aggressiveness getting across the ball, that his big body, he's a big, long athlete, super strong, fast. I'd love to see him kind of gear down a little bit, because he misses sacks sometimes because he'll run right by the guy because he's running right at him. I'd like to see him kind of sink his hips a little bit so he can get some more sacks. But I think, when you get someone playing like he's starting to play, and you got all that mass in the middle, and you can stop the run, that just makes a team one-dimensional. It's a lot easier to defend a one-dimensional team.
Interesting. All right. Hey, Al, let's do this again soon, all right?
All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Mark and Greg. Greatly appreciate it.
Yep, pleasure talking with you.
Great to have you on, Big Al.
All right, fellas.
Talk soon.
All right, thanks.
Number 90. Number 9 overall draft pick, 1979, baby.
Love it. When you were a ripe
I was 6 years old,
68
you jerk.
years old.
Yes.
You're now 120.
Shout out to our friends at CIRCA Sportsbook. My guys who made me, well, I made myself, but I did my gambling through CIRCA last weekend. Looking forward to doing it again this weekend, pro or college. You have to bet your football on CIRCA Sports Illinois, my friend. The sports betting the way it's supposed to be. CIRCA Sports Illinois, high betting limits, low holds, the exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, in-game. CIRCA has all of it. Fund yourself and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. You do have to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
That's right. Want to give a shout out to our guys over at Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I love an app like Game Time because you're able, as you see here on the screen, to hit that map up and see exactly where your seat is and exactly the vantage point once you select the seat and the section you're looking for. That's always really important to me because sometimes those other apps, they'll kind of trick you on the vantage point you have. Game Time Picks curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. They're all in pricing is great. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout, unlike some of those other apps that try to trick you. Then you go through like 6 more windows, and then it's twice as much as the selling price they initially got you on. Views, the panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Exactly. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Who? Now it's Hoge time.
Hoge time. Out to Halas Hall.
The prodigal son returns.
Just looking focused, looking ready as this show is just moving through at Big Al Harris to now Big Adam Hoge. What's up, Adam Hoge?
Can we explain the shirt, or is that how we should end the segment?
Whatever you want to do, buddy. It's your show too.
What's the explanation with the shirt? This is what I put on today.
It just is. It looks. It's a golf cart.
It's a nice Travis Matthews shirt.
Like it there, I thought it was like a farmer's shirt. But now I'm seeing it's a golf shirt. I can't see. I'm blind. It's a golf shirt. Okay, I should have recognized that.
The guy who nonstop just talks about how good at golf he is can't recognize
it looked like a forklift at first. And then, like at first, I was like, "Is that a tractor or a forklift?" But it's a golf cart. Now I see it. I see it. I'm sorry.
Stop talking.
We should have ended it with that. We definitely should have ended that segment with that nonsense.
No problem. Take the rest of the show off. Hey, Hoger, what happened at Halas Hall today? I got to listen to about 10 minutes of the Shane Waldron experience. I didn't get all of it, but fundamentals was a word that was used quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that, you weren't going to get anything amazing out of any of the coordinators, I think, today, but especially Shane Waldron trying to explain what's going on. Fundamentals, I think, especially probably up front from a technique standpoint in winning some of these one-on-one blocks. I think, passing off stunts, things like that. I mean, is what a lot of this stuff comes down to, right? I think also getting open more. I mean, I think if you probably ask DJ Moore and Rome Odunze about how much they've won their routes so far, they're probably not going to, tell you that they've been perfect either. So I think from a fundamentals technique standpoint, even there, just getting off the line of scrimmage on your releases. I just got off the practice field right now. They were working on, the releases and some of that hand fighting that goes against press coverage. Just trying to create separation, trying to stay skinny, things like that. As this week has gone on and on and on, I mean, the one thing watching more and more of the tape and hearing whoever it is talking, these issues on offense specifically, I don't think there's a single position that is, absolved from anything. It's been a catastrophe because basically from coaching on down to each position, no one's been perfect at all. And they got a lot to clean up.
So one of the comments or one of the interviews that you guys sent in today that I got a chance to peek at was from DeAndre Swift, and I give him credit. He put it on himself. I got to be better. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. And, I just asked Al Harris the same question. I'm going to ask you, when you're looking at the tape, do you think that Swift's doing anything wrong? Because a lot of what I'm seeing is ball gets in his belly, someone's in his face. So I don't know if you can really point to him.
Yeah, no, I think you can, because I think, it's funny. The play that's, I feel like, gone viral more than any other play this week has been the play where Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins let their guys on the line of scrimmage go by, and then they get to the second level, and then they don't block anybody there. Well, my understanding on that play is the running back was supposed to go outside, and he didn't. So it makes the offensive linemen look like idiots because they didn't block anybody. But in reality, their leverage is to the outside. They're trying to play the outside shoulder of those, I believe, backers that they got to at the second level. And so when the running back cuts inside, those guys take the inside leverage that is being given up there, and it looks like nobody blocked anybody. So I think that is a perfect example of actually one of these plays this week. And don't get me wrong, I'm not absolving the offensive line at all. I mean, they got to get better, especially in one-on-one situations. But there are a handful of examples that I think have gone viral on social media this week where it's actually either been the quarterback's fault or the running back's fault. And that's what I'm getting at by saying this is like all hands on deck, that things need to get fixed. I'll give you a coaching example because I looked it up. Mercedes Lewis has 19 snaps, and the Bears have run the ball on 15 of those plays. Okay, so that's a tendency that you're just kind of giving up right there. Chances are Mercedes Lewis is on the field. He's not on the field a lot. Well, you're running the ball. And so, those are the types of things that after a couple weeks, you start to put that on film, and it can be translated to a spreadsheet that all your opponents can see, and that's where game planning gets easier for your opponent if you don't change things.
So when you're watching the tape, everything you've consumed here this week, and as you take a step back, I know they asked Shane Waldron about the tinkering with the responsibility of Caleb Williams with the offense. Caleb talked about yesterday how he's got to get better recognizing the personnel when he's making his calls with the run. Now, obviously, we all understand he's got a ton of responsibility with pass protection and everything else. Do you think that they should keep throwing things at him until he gets it, or that they should dial things back and try to build this back up, and he's a little too overwhelmed for the amount of stuff they're trying to put on his plate?
Yeah, I wouldn't pull anything back. I think you got to be all in on this thing, and you got to, it's when you start dumbing things down that you're kind of admitting you have a problem, and I don't think the Bears are anywhere close to that point yet. You got to understand that if you are going to come in with this game plan to give Caleb Williams this autonomy at the line of scrimmage, that there were going to be a lot of things that happened. I'm not just saying the first 2 weeks of the season, probably the first 8 games of the season, at least, where he's going to be seeing stuff he's never seen before. And I mean literally never seen before, because it's a completely different game he's playing now at the NFL level than college. And it's a totally different system he's running where, he could get one hand signal at USC and from Lincoln Riley, and that was the play. I mean, that was it. There wasn't a 15-word play call in the huddle. There wasn't ID in the mic point. There wasn't, checks at the line of scrimmage or shifting the protection one way. It was just, this is what we're doing, and probably a read to this side and a read to that side. So if you think that any quarterback, I don't care who they are, is going to go from that to now this, where he's given them, they're giving him a ton of responsibility, and it's just going to be perfect right away. I mean, that's just silly. That's just not realistic. So he's going to have to work out these kinks. And I think that there were some examples on Sunday night where he did the right things, where he made the right checks. But this is all stuff he's seen for the first time really ever. And I think, every time you go through one of those situations where it doesn't go particularly right, then you're going to put that in your catalog and you're going to learn from it. And from everything we've heard about Caleb Williams, I think he will learn from it. And I do think that I'm not even say it's going to happen this week, but hopefully by November, this whole thing looks a lot smoother from his standpoint. Now, the only reason, to get back to your original question, that I would perhaps limit it is if he's making wrong decisions that are risking his health. So if it's too consistent that he's missing this one type of blitz or missing blitzes in general and not understanding when he's hot and he's getting hammered because of it, and that's happening too many times, and maybe it did get to that point in the fourth quarter against the Houston Texans. If that's a trend that continues, that's the only reason I would think to start, changing some things up, because nobody wants to see him get hurt.
I think that we expected there to be bumps in the road, but I guess the thing that is surprising to me and others is that the how bad it looks right now. I understand there's going to be things he's never seen before, but I just assumed, and I think a lot of us assumed, hey, he's playing the best defense in football every day at practice, and they threw all this stuff at him from minicamp on, and now it's like, whoa, there's all this other stuff, this encyclopedia of the NFL defenses that he's got to get through, and I'm just wishing that it a little better than what we've seen so far. I'm not saying perfect.
Well, hopefully we'll see a trend up for you and Caleb and the Bears and Mubs and everybody this week.
I hope for Caleb and
right.
Pop.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, just getting back to today, Adam. Richard Hightower spoke, Eric Washington spoke, and Shane spoke, and then there's a locker room. What of all of everything you've heard today, anything stand out the most?
I was talking to John Hoge, the passing game coordinator on defense, coaches the secondary as well, about and I think even as fans experience this too. When you have a team that doesn't produce takeaways versus a team that's capable of producing takeaways, there's a much different feeling and even enjoyment level of watching a football game, knowing that on any given play, you might get the ball back. And like John Hoke's been part of this in other places, and even here in his first stint, right, where you had you're instilling this mentality of taking the ball away. Well, 2 years ago, that was their same mentality, but they didn't quite have the horses or the pressure to be able to do it. Right. And we saw a shift about halfway through last season where all of a sudden, really on any given play, you could see that ball come loose. And, an underrated part of that game on Sunday night was, the Texans were knocking on the door of the end zone, looked like that game was over. Bam, ball came out. Bears got it back, gave the offense a chance. So I asked John if, they're finally at that point as a coaching staff where even as they're on the sidelines or they're in the box, they feel like on any given play when their defense is on the field, that they can actually get it back. That's a great place to be in from that side of the ball. So as bad as it's been offensively, I think that's when the coaches start feeling that confidence about something that they've been preaching this long, I think that's a great place to be in. Also, special teams wise, with Hightower today, I asked him about the kicks, the field goals, and how many we've seen across the league that are just, it seems like it's easy from 50 plus. And I hadn't really thought about it this way, but he said that he's not surprised right now that it looks like this. His question is, will this be maintained throughout the season? Not only because weather changes, and these are pretty much the most ideal times of the football season to be hitting bombs, but also he pointed out that early in the season, your whole field goal operation is way smoother, whether it's because you're just healthier, guys are more dialed in from all the reps you get in training camp, and then also as the season goes along, teams on the other side become a little bit more willing to bring different types of pressures and blocks and test you a little bit more. So the entire operation in September tends to be more clean than maybe it is in December. So just because we're seeing all these 50-plus yard field goals go in so consistently right now doesn't mean it's going to stay that way throughout the year.
Just a reminder, we are headed to the darkness. Tonight's sunset is the first sunset before 7 p.m. of the season. We're not going to see that past 7 until March 15th of 2025. That's when I'm here to bring the sunshine. So you don't need sunshine. I'm here for your sunshine from now until March 15th.
We are screwed.
Yeah. Well, true. All right, I'm going to give you a stat, Hoge, and I want to know if it bothers you. And in a small sample size, I got it. We're 2 games in. And DJ Moore, 17 targets is the most on the Bears through 2 games, okay?
Yeah.
Who, I don't know if have you looked at this? Probably not. Who do you think is second on the team with 6?
6 targets.
First of all, 17 for Moore. Second place is 6, which is a huge
DeAndre Swift?
DeAndre Swift, that is correct.
I would have said DeAndre Carter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, small sample size, no problem. But that's got to change, right? And I'm not sure how this goes from here, but I think it's time to get the tight ends more involved in the offense, mainly our guy, Cole Kmet.
You got to block first.
Well, right. I mean, I think that stat tells you that just the way it's gone so far is kind of alarming.
Well, let's just call it what it is with this wide receiver room right now. It has not been an ideal start to the season. We all knew, and we talked about it the day they traded for Keenan Allen when we did that emergency podcast. The biggest question there would be health. I don't think anybody's surprised that he's dealing with a heel injury right now, but it is alarming that it became an issue before the regular season even started, and he didn't really finish that first game and wasn't able to play in the second, and he's not practicing right now this week, so that's not good. And then in Arizona, all our friends at PHNX talk about on a daily basis, like he's Caleb Williams, is Marvin Harrison Jr., because he was their prized wide receiver pick. And Rome Odunze was a top 9 pick here. This has not been an ideal start to his season either, even with the knee injury as an excuse. But when you watch him on tape right now, and maybe it's just that knee, but I would even go back to the first game before the knee injury happened. I'm as somebody that talked this guy up endlessly, there's certain things that I'm not saying the production, rookie wide receivers almost never produce to an incredibly high level. But when you watch tape, I would expect him to get a little bit more separation than I've seen, to catch that ball in the end zone on Sunday night. We talked about his contested catch rate at Washington, and that is something I expected to carry over to the NFL, even though corners are bigger, stronger, faster, and all that. When you talk about 50-50 balls, I still thought that those would be, and I don't even call that drop on Sunday in the end zone a 50-50 ball. That's just a play that hits him in the hands he needs to make. Now, that's not to say that this isn't going to turn, but for as much as we've talked about the offensive line, and rightfully so, these weapons that we also talked about all offseason, they haven't quite performed to the level that should be helping Caleb. I mean, Keenan Allen cannot drop a touchdown pass. Rome Odunze cannot drop a touchdown pass. And that's happened in the first 2 games. They've both dropped touchdown passes. That absolutely should not be happening with the weapons that the Bears have. Period. That's it. It should not ever happen. Catch the touchdowns. And so that's another area here where it's just been a disappointing start to the season, in my opinion.
I want to do one.
What should the punishment be for dropping touchdowns?
Good question. But the Bears news today, player added, John Jackson, practice squad.
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, no, but fine. That's fine. You don't need to care.
He goes, yeah, I don't care.
Well, but okay. But then you're missing. Why do you think they added John Jackson, Mr. I don't care?
Who did they add yesterday?
That's different.
It's not different. They had 2 open roster spots on the practice squad. They're just bringing guys back.
Yeah. The only difference is who John Jackson is as opposed to the guy they brought in yesterday. You don't know.
Think they brought back John Jackson because they want Caleb to have a dude in there that can just kind of smooth things out right now? You don't think that's the main reason why John Jackson's back here?
If John Jackson has a single rep with the starting offense in practice anytime soon. He's there to run scout team on the other set for the defense. That's what the practice squad does. Now that the regular season has begun, that's how this works.
He's suggesting
I'm
that
not saying they're going to use John
Jackson.
I'm
that
saying
John Jackson is the Jack Haley to Dennis Rodman. That's what he's doing right now. So you can yell at him.
This is a let's make sure Caleb is good. Let's get his buddy back in the room.
The look on Hoge's face right now.
I don't understand why you would have that look.
I think just see the look of disgust on Adam Hoge's face.
I don't get it. I think it's overly obvious, and I think it's interesting. The guy's running.
Okay. Counter.
Yeah.
So what?
Okay, if you want to do with a so what counter, that's fine.
Let's say you're right. Why does that matter?
It matters because they are already worried about Caleb's mental state because they're getting him killed because the general manager built an offensive line that ain't working particularly well. That the head coach brought in an offensive coordinator.
I think you've done something unprecedented here, Carman, because Nick is running down the stairs right now to respond.
Nicholas Moriano wants to respond. Jackson. Great, let's hear his response.
Just listen to this guy. You made me come back from up there in the Bears media center, and now I have to fight you. That's what's gonna happen.
What do you want to fight me about?
I can't hear you though. So
he can't. He can't. He wanted to know why you want to fight.
Wants me to fight. Ask what he wants to fight me about.
What do you want to fight him about?
John Jackson?
Yeah. Just the fact that you're talking about John Jackson, really, which is kind of where my head is.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think it's stupid. I think they're
Carm, you don't think they can invite John Jackson to Halas Hall if they they don't have to put him on the practice squad to have a buddy of his around the building. So no.
Let me ask you something, Sir Genius Brad, Sir Genius Hoge. Is this roster fully complete? Perhaps could they use a boost on the offensive line, or maybe in the receiver room, or maybe even in the running back room? I don't know.
Didn't they sign an offensive lineman yesterday, or was that a defensive lineman on the practice squad? I don't know. This is why you're here. You pay attention to the practice squad, and
all right,
Nick and I will cover
that's fine.
You just take the rest of this segment off. Hoge, back to football. We have back to
that's
football.
Fine. They brought back Jack Haley. It's not a story.
Back Jack Haley.
No story.
All right, shut up. So, obviously, the Bears have been dynamic, this season on defense. I think they have 8 straight games where they've held teams under 20 points, as I was talking to Al Harris about. But this is certainly a different test they'll have here with Anthony Richardson being the dual threat ability that he has. He struggled last week against Green Bay. The Bears are very good at stopping the run. It certainly seems like this is playing into their hands, but, it's always, for me as a Bears fan, when something's too good to be true, it normally is. So what do I need to be guarded about in terms of this defense taking on this Colts offense?
Yeah, I think it's just that you can look at this similar to probably how defenses had to defend Justin Fields, in that you just know you have an athlete back there, quarterback, and so you have to be very, very careful. I don't think Anthony Richardson's at a point where you're necessarily worried about him throwing for 400 yards on you. He might do that on one pass now, but with his 70-yard bombs. But really, realistically, I don't look at him as a polished passer right now. He's still got a long way to go. But if you don't contain him, he can beat you. And so I think that's, if you kind of look at it that way, how defenses were probably afraid of containing Justin Fields, but they knew if they played him a certain way, they'd probably have success. I think that's how you look at this. Now, if I'm the Bears, I might even be willing to give up some yardage here and there to try to rattle him and get him to make mistakes, because I do think he'll turn the ball over. And if is an opportunistic defense who can take the ball away, as we were just talking about, that would be really what I'm focused on, is how can I make the game-changing play on defense to turn the Colts over win that takeaway battle, because they did it in week 1. They won the football game. They did not do it last week, and they lost. So I honestly, sometimes it's that simple in football. And this is a week where, when I look at how the Bears take the ball away on their defense, if Caleb and the offense can just hold on to it and not make those mistakes that were made on Sunday night, I think they'll be in good shape.
All right, Adam Hoge, we will see you Sunday. Where are you going to be?
I will be at Joe's on Weed Street, and I will be there all day, and it'll be a really fun party, and the Bears are going to win, and everybody's going to go nuts. Can I give you 2 more nuggets, though, before I leave here?
Love nuggets.
We'll stay here until you are done giving nuggets, buddy. We got at least
2.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just 2 quick ones. One is it surprised me. I like expected points added as a stat. It surprised me that given the numbers the Colts have given up with their rush defense, their EPA as a rush defense is actually not that bad. It's more middle of the pack. So that might be an area where I think we're all assuming this is the get-right game for the Bears offensively in terms of running the football. I'm a little skeptical that all of a sudden the Bears are going to be running, that DeAndre Swift's going to have 100 yards rushing on Sunday. That has me a little nervous. And then the other thing is more of an observation. Have you guys ever looked at Travis Homer's arms?
I've looked at his body. The guy's ripped. I don't know if his arms just stand out even more.
That's what I'm talking about. At practice, he was like 5 feet away from me, and I had not realized it yet. He's just like his biceps are bigger than Braggs' head.
That's not possible.
Don't laugh at his joke.
Listen,
after what he just did to this segment, although
I
did start
laugh,
with
please.
you.
Yeah, that was weird.
First of all, I saved this segment like I always do because I'm the best. And secondly, I'm not defending myself, so we'll just move along. Who you playing this week, Hoge? Who's Carmel got Friday night?
Oh, we got St. Lawrence. The I don't know if you call it a sister school or neighbor school. My mom was a Queen of Peace grad. So Queen of Peace isn't there anymore. They are now both St. Lawrence, but they've always been right next to each other. So, a little extra meaning in this game this week. And we never played St. Lawrence, so it should be, and they were in the state championship game last year, so it should be a good game.
All right, just make sure you tell Mark Pass I say hello, all right?
Yeah, 100%.
There you go.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's the Associate Athletic Director over at Carmel, Greg.
That's great.
I didn't know that you knew him, so I will tell him you say hello.
Long-time Carm guy.
Who would be your Jack Haley? Like, who could we bring in to monitor you here at the studio?
Poppy the puppy.
Good choice. Poppy had a rough night last night, though. She's in detention. Just odd growling late at night. It was really a tough night for Pop. Don't know what happened. We went for a late night walk. Then, early this morning, 5 a.m.
Now, when you mean walk, is it like that walk the other day where you were driving Poppy around, calling it a walk on your little Twitter video? You done with me?
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Hoge, done with you two. Have a good day. I thoroughly didn't enjoy the last half hour of the show.
Wow.
But, actually, probably the 42-minute mark to the 56-minute mark.
This is why we got to go.
No, mainly it's you, but although that look that you gave me was one of your all-time great Hoge looks, that was a good one. We'll see you at Joe's on Weed Street. Thank you.
All right. Bye, Greg. Bye, Steven.
Good seeing you.
There it is. All right.
Let's give a quick shout out before we get to our great sponsors and give a quick shout out to the diehards. Make sure you become a diehard here at CHGO Sports. If you go to allchgo.com/diehard, you can become one. You get a free shirt right out the gate. Get discounts on any future shirts, discounts on all our events, including the Joe's on Weed Street event, our tailgates, exclusive content from guys like Carm and Hoge's weekly newsletter. Nick puts out exclusive content. Really cool stuff. Make sure you become a diehard here at CHGO Sports.
And thank you to our new diehards, Patrick, a.k.a. P-Love, Edward. There's no E5. There's no E3. Edward's all about victory. Mike.
Like Mike.
Be like
I
Mike,
could
baby.
Be like Mike.
Straight champion. Larry, Mike's older brother.
Sometimes I dream that he is me.
Palmer.
Boom, 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 boom.
Stop talking. Palmer. What can you say about Palmer?
Palmer sucks. No, I'm kidding. Palmer, I'm sorry.
Palmer, he did not mean that. He's deranged.
The Palmer House? Isn't that a steakhouse?
Let's all go to the Palmer House and talk Bears.
Is that his bar?
Big Chris is in here. Nick at Night. I'm taking a flyer at this one. I apologize if I get it wrong. Eloiso.
Let me see.
Loiso. Don't even attempt.
Luiso.
There you go. And then we got Michael, Matthias, George, Duncan, Richard, Robert, Stacy, and William all jumping in here. Thank you so much to everybody. William, you're the man. Stacy, you're incredible. Robert, straight incredible. Richard, better than Dent. Duncan, better than Keith. George, all over George Gervin. My guy. What's up?
Well, we got to give a quick shout out here now to our lovely sponsors. That's what we got to do.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, first of all, Ray Scarpelli is going to have a phenomenal prediction coming up on the Sunday pregame show, so be here for pregame at 11. But before you hit the road this fall, head to Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram and start your adventure there. This September, shop their new lower prices across their enormous inventory during the Jeep Adventure Days. It's going on right now. So for a limited time, the new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, that's $239 a month for 27 months, buddy. You diss that horrendous car you're driving around and get yourself a Grand Jeep. Start driving around in style than that filthy animal that you drive in. 125 vehicles right now are priced under $20,000, which is amazing. But the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey. The Ray Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing right now, same prices you can expect when you shop in-store or online. It's because Ray Price Promise, that means no price changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees ever. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram because they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since
Carm turned 21 in 1963.
Bing bong, no, we've never done a sober show. We're always drunk and messed up, and that's what's going on here. Bing bong.
Bing bong.
And Bing bong, you don't have the right to ever ask that when your name is Bing bong. You go Bing bong for your YouTube. Don't ask about people being sober. Bing bong.
Hit the like, Bing bong.
Take that, Bing bong. All right.
Shut your mouth, Bing bong.
No, we love you, Bing bong. You're the man. And yes, we're 99% sober. Craig's probably had 3 Dr. Pepper Zeros. Right?
No, I haven't today.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Well, you were in early for you.
I was not in early for me. I was in early for the Briggs and Brown show,
yes,
which recorded this morning and will premiere later tonight at, I think, about 7 p.m. Central. So not about, at 7 p.m. Central. I apologize.
People like to know when things
are
coming out. At 7
p.m. Central, the Briggs and Brown show will premiere. It was really good stuff. They were on fire today, as they always are. They hit on some pretty fun topics and some interesting ones as well, like learning about the game, talking about some Hall of Fame finalists. The Bears put out yesterday that Lance Briggs, Peanut Tillman, and Olin Kreutz are all finalists to try to make it into the Hall of Fame. So Lance Briggs gave some thoughts on that, among some many other stories about some of those old school Bears days. So make sure you tune into the Briggs and Brown show here later tonight. The coverage never stops at CHGO Bears.
True story. And Friday show tomorrow at noon, and then I got some news about Fridays that I'm looking forward to telling you about. Somehow, some way, the major website that I took the targets thing on that I didn't double check the work, they got this wrong.
Show tomorrow is at 1.
Show tomorrow at 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just let me recap. DeAndre Swift's 4th on the team in targets with 6, tied with DeAndre Carter.
I know the whole chat was yelling at you about that.
I know. But Moore's got 18. Allen's got 11. Odunze's got 9, and then the 6s. Point stands. Way too much of a disparity. You went out and got and by the way, on the 11 targets, Keenan's got 4 catches. That ain't great. And Rome's got 3 out of 9. So my point, we need more balance.
Your belly's showing down here.
Just don't.
It is. Look, Steven.
I see it. I just don't know if you needed to point it out.
I mean, why?
The trophy's covering it.
Do you have to be that guy?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm sitting here and your belly's poking out.
I mean, I'm looking at the crust on your knees, the grease off your nose. We don't really need to go down that.
Crust. This is like, it's not crust.
What is it?
It's from the. It's just shut up.
Exactly. Get some lotion, and you're on television.
Nobody can see that, but they almost saw your belly. They almost saw your belly poke out. They're not going to see the residue from the wrap on my knee from my ACL surgery, but they did almost see your fat belly poking out.
Go watch us on Roku.
Pot belly.
Listen to me. Go watch us on Roku. The zoom in is real. I mean, it is a tight fit. So
I have been watching on Roku lately. I have a Roku TV. What are you saying? I'm taking up a lot of the screen? Is that what you're trying to say?
HR.
Can I get us back on track? I have some football thoughts.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to do football.
It's called the Meatball
CHGO.
Meltdown Hour for a reason.
It's been that since the show started. Come on. All right, so I did a little bit of a dive here on the Bears matchup this week versus the Colts. And one guy I was looking at is someone you might not have heard of before. His name's Nick Cross. He leads the NFL in tackles right now with 29, which that's a gaudy number. Even more so, he's a safety, and he's doing that. So one of the things that I noticed with him is he has been cheating up towards the line of scrimmage quite a bit, which is important because the Colts have been struggling to stop the run. He's going to be able to do that even more this week because Julian Blackmon, the other starting safety, he's going to play this week, meaning that defensive backfield will have a little bit more coverage than it otherwise would. Now, on top of that, you start looking at some of these matchups. I also looked at Quentin Nelson, one of the best guards in the league, and that should be Andrew Billings' assignment. For me, that is going to be one of the more intriguing matchups to watch when you look at the line of scrimmage, and that will determine whether or not the Colts can run the ball against the Bears.
Yep. And when you tune in tomorrow for the Bears-Colts preview, Friday preview show, Nick's going to have you covered with a lot of those, and I'm sure he's going to hit on some of those matchups as well. So looking forward to that preview, but that was some good insight there from our guy Steven, our fearless leader, Steven. And I know some people in the chat are like, hey, I want the Briggs and Brown show live. We'll get there, guys, all right? They had to record this morning, but I promise we will get to a point where the Thursday shows with Briggs and Brown are live, but trying to work out a schedule for them.
But it will be live, too, though. We have the Sunday post-game show, and then we also have them here on Mondays.
Correct. So we'll get there. I'm just saying, but the
Thursdays
Thursdays,
right now.
too, just, hey, be patient. Let us work through things. Let them get their feet under them as they build their show out.
I mean, my favorite thing is interacting with the chat, and which, by the way, a new thing in the chat that we're going to be doing.
I like everyone in the chat but Pop.
I'm in it with Pop. With Dre Day, bad news for you and everybody else going forward. If you spell Tevin Jenkins' name wrong,
oh God,
Teven is how to spell it. If you put that I in there,
he just gets mad because people spell his name wrong.
That's correct. That's exactly right. You want to call that projection or whatever you want to call it, whatever the. Got to go over to better help. Bottom line, you spelled Tevin Jenkins wrong in our chat. You owe us $5 on your next chat. No spelling Tevin Jenkins.
I like that. Every person that spells Tevin's name wrong has to put in a $5 super chat.
$5 super chat.
That's good.
I mean, he's been here long enough. This ain't year one.
Super chats can start becoming a form of punishment. I like this.
I mean,
the Blackhawks guys actually do that.
This is year 4 for Tevin. Year 4. Come on.
Good idea.
On the super chat menu today, our guy Gritty leading it off. $15 big at the start of the show. Gritty, you're the man. Every damn day, Gritty. Appreciate you. LFCHGO. That's FNCHGO. Shane Walnut says practice will get them out of the funk. Really wish they had been practicing this whole time then. Bring back Matt Nagy. He knows how to run a good practice. Bear down. I assume that's tongue-in-cheek there. We're not bringing back Matt Nagy, even though he is, an incredible chatter for us. Seth Crane, don't take offense to that, Nagy. We love you. 1999. Seth, you're the man. On my way out to Las Vegas, boys. Remember to bet with CIRCA. Go Bears. Over under 1.5. How many times an offensive lineman gets tripped by his own guy?
Hopefully 0.
Our O-line's going to be so good this week. I can feel it. I'm not Pop. $5. Thank you. I'm not
he
Pop.
He actually is Pop.
A message for the chat. As an unwise man once told me, quit your crying. Far too much of it for being week 3. Yeah, Braggs. Stay positive.
I haven't been crying.
Enough with your negativity. I guess it's time to go, unless you have any other thoughts.
No, I have no more thoughts.
Okay.
I have no more thoughts.
Well,
I rarely ever have a thought.
We got 4 minutes.
We don't have 4 minutes. That's just our cutoff time of the furthest we can go, but we don't have to go that far.
Well, I have one thing. Robert Lee, apparently you said thank you a bunch of times. Congratulations on my on our CHGO back-to-back championship.
There you go, me guy. I
fixed it. Robert, thank you. And you're a champion too, Robert. Know that. Without you, we wouldn't have won. Your positivity in the chat daily propelled me to be able to sign another championship ball.
Some big balls.
This one is actually not a championship ball. This is from when I wasn't leading the team and they won a playoff game and they celebrated it. We don't hang these anymore. These are out. That one over there. These are the championship balls that matter.
Okay.
Right here.
Proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Proud of you.
I have something for an overtime on another time because you're just not in a good mood today, and I'm not going to entertain you.
How am I not in a good mood? What did I do? I'm fine.
I don't like your attitude today.
I've had a lot to do this morning.
Yeah, no, you were incredible today, Gregory, as always, and I always actually love just being with you, and you make me better every day.
I know.
On that note,
we got another super chat coming in hot. Hey, Caraman. I love Teven Gankins. Ooh.
Thank you, back.
Checkmate.
In point.
Technically, he owes $5 for the misspell of Tevin off the $2 super chat per the rule.
That's true. Figure it out, back in point. You owe us $3. Time to go, Greggy.
Yeah, it's time to go. We did it. This was a good week, man. We, Baldy came on, Matt Waldman, Al Harris, Nick and Hoge from Halas, Briggs and Brown on Monday. Tomorrow you got the preview show. Let's bask in the glory of this fine program that we do every single day.
In the last 30 seconds of the show, I'll be at Halas Hall tomorrow. If you want to throw in the chat on my way out here, one guy you want me to talk to one-on-one, I'll do my best to do it.
Look at Patsy. Glad you guys brought on Alex and Lance because I found you guys, and this is a great show and a great channel, so thank you. Love it. I mean, that's what it's all about. They have brought in a lot of new audience here, and that's what we love about it. Welcome. I'm glad you enjoy the program.
Back in point, $4.99 here.
Love it.
Thank you, back in point. See? That's the integrity that our chat has. You think other shows have this level of integrity?
Probably way more integrity. There's probably way more integrity on the Blackhawk show, which is about to start here in about 15 minutes.
Braggs and I are doing a video that's going to make the internet break, so watch it when it comes out.
Yeah, I honestly ignored your text, so I have no idea what this is.
Get ready, buddy. We're going to be the trend. Me and you are the trend. It'll be fun. It'll be Cags at its finest. Blackhawks coming up at 2:30. We'll see you at Joe's on Wheat Street on Sunday. Be there. $10 to get in, $65 all you can drink. See you Sunday.
We all silly like the mayor.